New Music Deathmatch, where we pit two album releases that drop during the same month to determine which one belongs in your heavy rotation. In one corner, clocking in at a tight 36 minutes, hailing from Asheville, North Carolina, and always delivering a potent sonic stew of shoegazy, guitar ecstasy with lyrics that search for meaning in the mundane. The band is Wednesday, and their sixth studio LP, Bleeds. In the opposite corner, rising from the gritty New York punk scene of 1977, best known as the frontman for one of the most influential bands of all time. He helped lay the groundwork for 1980s college rock and modern indie rock. He's released 10 solo studio albums, with today's contender clocking in at a lean 37 minutes. It's David Byrne and his album, Who Is the Sky? My name is Rusty Pate, and I listen to 1,000 new music release LPs every year. As always, weigh in on the comments with your picks and all hot takes, suggestions for new categories. It's all fair game. Round 1, songwriting. David Byrne's songwriting has never gotten the credit it deserves. Sure, millions of people love Talking Heads, and songs like Burning Down the House and Once in a Lifetime have ingrained themselves into our culture in ways that even the most wildly successful tracks from the 1980s never really did. Despite that, many view Byrne more as a performance artist almost, and a quirky genius than a master craftsman of song. But Who Is the Sky opens with two haymakers. Everybody Laughs delivers an absolutely perfect opening salvo that easily ranks among 2025's best. When We Are Singing charges in after with the orchestral punctuations and an arrangement that lifts the entire album into the stratosphere. Rock music that tries to be art almost never works, but Byrne has consistently pulled it off. That's not to say every song gets there. My Apartment Is My Friend, I Met the Buddha at a Downtown Party, and Moisturizing Thing swing and miss, but Don't Be Like That, The Avant-Garde, and What Is the Reason for It drive so much joy that any downturns are quickly forgotten. By the way, the latter track includes Hayley Williams, who is just a delight, and I am a late comer to the Hayley Williams party, and that is a mistake on my part. My bad. I recognize your game now, Miss Williams. If Byrne operates in the airy, cloud-floating stratosphere, Wednesday keeps their feet firmly planted on the ground, often attached to a jackhammer. Bleed starts with the slow-building, noisy intro of reality TV argument Bleeds, lasts nearly a minute before exploding into this perfect wall of guitars straight out of 1994. The entire album features these herky-jerky, turn-on-a-dime moments. Courtney Barnett vibes slither everywhere. It's disjointed and sloppy, but in the best possible way. The heavy aggro tones even seep into a track like Townies that largely operates in the quasi-country sound that's always been part of the band's identity as well. The word I keep going back to is muscle. Like Who Is the Sky, there are a couple whiffs, but what Carly Hartzman has been able to do from a songwriting standpoint is nothing short of incredible. Pick Up That Knife feels like the band is trying to shove every genre and style of music they love into one track, and it never feels muddled. They somehow pull it off. On the other side, David Byrne delivered the best song on the two albums, but Wednesday's ability to be so at home in so many different moods, along with a floor that never really sinks too low, earns them the narrow category win. Round 2, instrumental acumen. No need to run in circles on this one because Ghost Train Orchestra are the clear MVPs of the David Byrne album. It's true that Byrne's songs are squarely at the center of everything, and his overriding artistic integrity drips from every chord change. However, tracks that border on didn't work territory, like My Apartment Is My Friend and A Door Called No, benefit so much from their tasteful phrases and swells of the Ghost Train Orchestra. While Wednesdays certainly hold their own with solid playing, they're just up against an impossible task here. And when there's an accomplished big ensemble like this that gets involved, it's a pretty natural win for the instrumental side. Round 3, attitude. I will be similarly quick here, as it's pretty obvious that Wednesday deals almost exclusively in Attitude on Bleed. Byrne deals more in stylistic flourishes than brash attitude. I won't get into the full thoughts here on the difference between the two. One isn't necessarily better than the other, but they're definitely two different mindsets. For me, Attitude can sometimes really carry the whole thing. Makes the songwriting better. It makes a subpar musicianship feel like a feature rather than a bug. And the right attitude can often determine by itself if you want to spend a lot of time with an album, artist, or song. So Wednesday wins here. But if I ever make a full video breaking down attitude versus style, Byrne will likely be featured prominently as a prime example of a stylistic master. Round 4, tracklist construction. This is really a tale of two track lists. Bleeds stands as a case study in balance. Even on the individual tracks, they operate a lot in the quiet verse, loud chorus space, and it really works. Their more sweet, gentle tunes serve as a great chaser to the abrasive ear bleeders. Reality TV Argument Bleeds is a solid opener, and I love Townies in the 2-hole. Wound Up Here by Holding On. So early feels a little out of place, but I know that Elderberry Wine needed some separation from Townies since they kind of occupy similar space, if not exact. You know, they both have that kind of spoonful of sugar aspect that needs a different vibe in between. Wound Up Here works great in that regard, but something like Bitter Every Day feels a little bit more like a side one track for me. No notes on Elderberry Wine through The Way Love Goes. It's the strongest section of the album for me because you get a great sandwich effect where the double meat kicks off with a hilariously silly Fish Pepsi. They really flex here with great playing. I'm a fan of Fish, but not the kind that would spell fan with a PH. And I love how we get a noodly hippie line to start it before the track slips into this cosmic American music shuffle. That's followed by Candy Breath to get us back into the volume dynamics in a whole new way. And then that meat of the sandwich is bookended by these beautifully sparse country tinged tracks. This is a point where it's obvious on your first listen that you're hearing something special. I think it limps to the ending a bit, not because the songs are bad. I just would have liked having more of the shoegazy stuff as a send-off. Who Is the Sky takes a completely different approach. Again, the first two tracks are just so rock solid. Like on Bleeds, track 3 is a miss for me. I could have moved My Apartment Is My Friend to side 2 in place of something like The Avant-Garde, which has this incredible chorus that might be the best musical moment on the entire album. The track's disjointed nature works more and more with each re-listen, but the slide into this beautiful, hooky, candy center between all this lurking weirdness would be right at home in the 3-hole. No real notes for Don't Let It Be Like That Through the Truth, which makes up side 2 on the vinyl release. I think the sweet, quirky love song She Explains Things to Me would have been a great closer, but the truth does slot in there a little more naturally. Moisturizing Thing is probably the worst song between the two albums for what that's worth, and points should be deducted there. From a tracklist standpoint, I'm going to give the nod to Byrne. Each side just starts with these two great songs that does so much to carry the overall album experience. I like that Bleed is a constant state of balancing the textures, but Byrne really captures how these ebbs and flows are supposed to work. Round 5, Replayability. Both of these albums are incredible, and with unlimited funds, I would absolutely own both on vinyl, which is the highest praise I can give any release. Bleeds has more songs that you want to hear over and over, but Who Is the Sky delivers a consistency with these incredible wow moments. So by the slightest of margins, I'm going to pull out my old man bias and say the fact that David Byrne is able to produce an album like this at age 74 is just remarkable. Again, I listen to these albums as part of my project to listen to 1,000 new albums released in 2025. Here's a quick speed round to catch you up on some of the other notable LPs from September. I have Jeff Tweedy season tickets, so I came into the month hyped for Twilight Override, and while New Orleans and the title track and Enough were for sure highlights for me, it's a little excessive as the triple album and it drones on a bit. It also could be argued that Tweedy has been writing the same song for a decade now. Still, it's physical media worthy and very good. Geese. I liked it. I didn't think it deserved the praise that it got, but I liked it. For my money, the rock album that deserved all that hype was Bonanza by the Macks, which wasn't perfect, but I love the yin yang open of Strict Patterns into Bluto. Just a super fun rock album, and we need more of those. Like, listening to Geese isn't fun. They're good. I like the album. Bonanza is a fun listen. Double Infinity by Big Thief was always going to be lauded by critics, but I was a little lukewarm on it, maybe in comparison to the rest of their catalog. And I know that's not fair, but when you constantly raise the bar as a band, you have to keep clearing it. This was good. It just didn't rise up to what we're used to from that incredible band. Speaking of bars, Seth Avett released a rap album full of love songs. So it's something to hear. Orcutt Shelley Miller released a chaotically beautiful, noisy piece of instrumental work. The self-titled offering features guitar-forward art music with a phenomenal opener and closer to the album. Tedeschi Trucks Band and Leon Russell released their version of Mad Dogs and Englishmen from the Locken Festival in 2015. Features more special guests than you can shake a stick at. There's an incredible documentary that will hopefully get a wider release someday, ideally on Blu-ray. It's only on Quello right now, which is another streaming service. That's $13 a month. And for that price, you can support the Disatone newsletter for more than half a year. Link in the description. Will Paquin's Ha 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 deserved more spins for me. I almost never allow myself to be seduced by these TikTok musicians, but this was really good. Kendra Morris might be my favorite artist on the Karma Chief Coal Mine Records label, which is a big statement. Her album Next should be in your queue. Wesley Hanna's Magnolia flirted with corndog country territory, but managed to be just earnest enough to avoid it. The songs are actually pretty solid, and I got a John Anderson or Randy Travis vibe at times. Nowhere near their vocal instrument, but it was an album that I enjoyed the more that I spun it. On the flip side, Hardy's Country, Country, Country has a song called Bro Country. I had high hopes for this album, but he has a song called Bro Country. He said in an acoustic performance video on YouTube that it was completely written via text message, which is perfect for a song called Bro Country. All right, let's check in on the progress for my 1,000 album challenge. First up, the recap for September. Solid Red, 1. Yellow Turning Red, 10. Solid Yellow, 80. Green Turning Yellow, 23. Solid Green, 8 for a grand total of 122 albums heard in September. For the year, Solid Red, 10. Yellow Turning Red, 69. Solid Yellow, 487. Green Turning Yellow, 178. Solid Green, 24 for a grand total of 768 albums heard in 2025 through September. So let's see, 232 albums to go with just about 4 months, but don't really count December because the releases really dry up in the second half of that month. Anyway, we're getting there. That's it. Thank you for watching. As always, find some great music and play it loud.